Jerry Andrus. Jerry was born on January 28, 1918 in Sheridan, Wyoming. The youngest of 4 children, 3 boys and a girl, born to Wilbur and Lillian Andrus. His brother George and sister Lucia also live in Oregon. George is in the house right next to the Castle of Chaos. The family moved to Albany, to the house where Jerry now lives, in 1928. He served in the Army in World War II, rising to the rank of sergeant. I've been told that Jerry's interest in magic began when he was in junior high, or at least approximately at that time. He was very interested in doing things with his hands, and possessing a curious mind, he worked at making mechanical gadgets. He was the adventurous one in his family and was not afraid to try new things. Jerry, we have gathered here tonight to honor you and what you have given to the world of magic. Some of your friends are going to come and say a few words about you and how you have affected their lives. Starting off will be Vernon Cook, who, as they say, goes back quite a few years with you. Vernon?
Jerry.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I too lived in Sheridan, Wyoming at one time. So Jerry and I have something in common. Although Jerry left a long time before, well, I moved to Wyoming in 1921 and Jerry left in 1928. But 32 years ago, I came to Portland in 1950. 32 years ago last month, there was snow on the curbstones and roses grew up through the snow. And I knew right then that this was a strange country and I wanted to come and make Oregon my future home, not knowing that I was going to meet Jerry. But I attended a meeting of the Portland Society of Magicians up here. I met of which I was a member for many years. And there was a gentleman that was taking his initiatory work. He was putting on his show that evening to gain membership of the Portland Society of Magicians, which was Jerry Andrus. 3 or 4 of the local members came up to me and he says, we've got a country boy here who thinks he's a magician. And he's going to do some things tonight, and he's going to do some of the strangest magic that you ever saw. And we want your opinion of it. Well, I said, I never have been around a magician very much. Just a few years in Great Falls. I'm a loner like Jerry was for a long while. Well, we want you to look at it. So Jerry started performing. Now, the only thing that I can remember of Jerry doing that evening was some coin tricks. And he had some of the strangest routines that I have ever seen. Now, I have never seen anything like it since. But they were very interesting because they were different. And I turned to the fellow to me and I says, has you ever seen this man do magic before? No, we never have. What do you think of it? I said, let me see the rest of it before I form an opinion. So Jerry went on and gave about a 10-minute act, practically all coin tricks. Now that's all. If he did anything else, I can't remember. So after the meeting was over, these 3 people, 3 or 4, they have since passed on to the Magic Club high in the sky. And they asked me, what do you think of this fellow? I said, well, I tell you, you give him about 6 or 7 more years, and I said, he'll be famous. Well, that's what he told me. Well, it wasn't that long. In 1954, I think something along about that time, Jerry invented the sailor licking safety pins with the world-famous routine that he now does. Now, a lot of people don't know this, but Jerry told me one time, and I got in my diverse ways and things, that he got tired of Vernon Cook doing the licking safety pins and a couple of other tricks. He got tired of him doing it all the time, so he says, I'm going to invent something that he can't do, and he did. And he went on to invent a routine with the safety pins. So you see, he became famous, and then he went on to do his card tricks. I don't know very much about card tricks, and when Jerry starts to do card tricks, he loses me, because I don't know what he's doing, and he's the only one sometimes I think that does, but that reason that he can really fool everybody. Now, just remember, 32 years ago, I saw this young man then do his initiatory work. I put him on a show, and I predicted that he would be famous. I didn't say world famous, I said he would be famous and recognized, and he is. And that proves, to my mind at least, that Cook knows a little bit more than a lot of people think he does.
Another good friend of Jerry's is Dean Fox, who also lives here in Albany. Dean, what can you tell us about Jerry?
Well, I can try to tell you a few items about him. The first time I ever heard the name of Jerry Andrus, I have Lincoln dating back in 1937. And Dean Gordon wrote an article in there, and he mentioned about a man named Jerry Andrus who lived way out here in Oregon, in the town of Albany, that did some unusual magic. And he wrote to Abbott and told Abbott that he should have this man, Jerry Andrus, to come to his convention. Now, whether Jerry went to that convention or not, I don't know, because I've never been in the Abbott convention. That's the first time I heard the word Jerry Andrus. Then imagine me here tonight rubbing elbows with this great Jerry Andrus that I read about many years ago in the Lincoln Ranch. Jerry has many things he does besides magic. Any of you folks here has ever been in this place that he calls the Castle Chaos has simply missed something. And I think you should get in touch with Jerry and make an appointment to go to this place and see what he has in store for you there. It isn't all card magic. It's different. I'm not going to tell you what those secrets are. Even though Jerry is a very busy guy, he always has time to stop and help his neighbor kids when they break a bicycle or a toy or something like that. Jerry has time to help them fix it. And you know, the thing that impressed me the most about Jerry Andrus is all this notoriety he's been getting in the last few years. He's still the same Jerry Andrus as I have known for the last 15 years. And I like to close by saying this. I hope the future has many wonderful things in store for the person we know as Jerry Andrus.
Thank you, Dean. The next two men are both working professional magicians. First, we'll hear from Dwayne Duvall. Dwayne.
Well, after a few speeches, a lot of this will become redundant. I too met Jerry Andrus in the early 50s when I moved to Portland. I remember at the Portland Women's Club where we used to meet, which is now the Movie House Theater. And I was also there that night when Jerry did his initiation with I believe he did his entire routine with the silver dollar. Anyway, it was unique. He wasn't all that happy with it, but then he's never been happy with a lot of things he does. But anyway, it did disturb a few people that he tried all these things that nobody had ever seen before. I do take consolation in the fact that in those early days that Jerry once came to me and asked me if I would show him how to palm a card. Obviously, he never mastered my technique. And probably, if the truth were known, there were more people doing it my way than Jerry's way, but small potatoes get to the big picture. Anyway, that was in the early 50s. As Brendan said, he did the safety pin trick and put it on the market and was the biggest selling trick of that year, maybe in many years, and it's still a best-selling trick. And then he came out with a book on safety pin tricks, which was a big seller. Few people travel the world over, and you only see a few people that ever learned half or a third of what's in the book. But if you see it all done, each thing had its merit, its point, or it wouldn't have been in there to begin with. And then in 1956, he published Andrus Deals You In, which I have a copy over here in the bag. And that laid the magic world on its ear, because most people thought that these things that were in the book were an impossibility, and they were so new and so novel and so advanced that nobody had ever seen it before, nobody ever saw it done, and nobody believed that most of it could be done. So since then, for the last 20 years, Jerry has been going around to Magic Club after Magic Club, stressing the point, it is really possible. You buy the book and you too can do what's in the book. So anyway, I think we are unique and uniquely privileged to have Jerry in our midst, rather than moving away like a lot of people do when they discover they have this spark of genius to go away to some big place and exploit it. So Jerry has decided to stay here in Oregon and do it in his own way and travel out and show his wares from time to time. I'll take one for Mom. Anyway, where were we?
One for Mom.
One for Mom. I get one for my sis too.
He's traveling around with wares.
Okay, anyway, I think that we're lucky to have him here, and some people say that Jerry really isn't appreciated as much as he should be, and the reason for that is, and it's been repeated many times, that as a prophet is without honor in his own country. And I think that fits Jerry's situation fairly well. And probably the reason for this is, it's like doing magic for your family. Everybody learns it along with you. They grow up with you and they learn it piece by piece, and they don't have the impact of seeing it all at one time, and when you go somewhere else and do it for somebody new, and they're absolutely awestruck. So in our case, we've been awestruck for 15 or 20 or 30 years, and how much awe can you give out without decimating your soul? So anyway, we are really, even though it doesn't show, everybody secretly is inside, they are as impressed as somebody else that sees it for the first time. So anyway, I say that. I think that in 40 or 50 years down the road, Jerry will be remembered like John Ramsay of Scotland. He will be a legend, and he will be remembered as the contribution that he's made to magic. We are extremely lucky to have him.
Steve Dobson is an excellent young close-up performer, on whose life and magic I think Jerry has had an impact, definitely. Instead of a speech, Steve is going to do some of his miraculous things, dedicating this performance to Jerry.
Hi, everybody. Everybody say, yeah, what I was going to say, if we can, being this close up, and it's a little bit of a problem, but let's have everybody come up close. And Jerry, I want you up close. And what you can. Come on. You bring this chair over, because there's going to be a few more performers, too. So, very easy.
One more chair down the front.
Jerry? Yeah, don't be bashful. Close up, man.
Shuffle these cards. Can you get that at all? You know, they shuffle these cards on the floor.
Okay.
Does he need to move?
There on stage.
I'm not going to do that.
Sure.
Can you get it, Bob, or need to move?
Yeah, we need to split them.
That's good.
Oh, yeah.
For those of you who didn't catch it, my name is Steve Dobson. I was going to do some things all from Jerry's material that he's put in print, but I didn't think of that idea until about 2 days ago, so I'm not prepared, and I don't feel it's right to do magic like that in front of the master unless it's done right. And I really feel that way. So I'm not going to do what I would have planned. I'm just going to do a little bit of magic. Hopefully you'll enjoy it. Watch me as close as you can. Oops, start out good. Reno, Vegas, Tahoe, they show you the deck one time in fast fashion. Then they shuffle it. They also cut it. However, they never allow anybody to do anything like this. For if that were done, a card sharp would have been able to spot the ace of clubs, the ace of hearts, maybe the spade, maybe the dime. 4 aces. It's not amazing, but do watch me close. Can you remember 2 cards, dear? Remember 2 of them for me?
I think so.
Okay, I'd like you to keep an eye on the ace of spades. In a moment, I'm going to switch the ace of spades for this one over here, the ace of clubs. All you have to do is tell me when that transpires. We'll do it like this. Where's the ace of clubs? Oh, good, you're paying attention. I want to see if anybody was drinking. Okay, we'll do a little bit faster. Watch. Snap of the fingers, a little shake. You tell me, where's the club? Where's the eight? Glad you said that. Look, these are red. These are the black ones. Let's try a little different. Did I get you by surprise? Let's try something a little different. What's your favorite ace?
Heart.
The heart, the lover. Okay. Here's something a little different. I was at a convention with Jerry last month in New York. This is something I invented during one of the late sessions in Buffalo, New York. Ace of spades, ace of clubs, ace of diamonds, the one you named, the ace of hearts. Keep an eye on it. All I want you to do is to tell me where the ace of hearts is. Did you see the move? Where's the ace of hearts? In the middle, that's close. Actually, I left it on top for your benefit. But you have to watch me close because I lie. Here's another ace of hearts. Now, actually, I lied again. Here's another ace of hearts. I've had a few people say that, Steve, you're using 4 ace of hearts. That's not exactly true because that'd be a pinochle deck or something like it. I don't use them, so watch close. Is the ace face up or face down?
Face up.
That's what most people say. Actually, it's face down. Well, let me show you. They really are face down. But you know what's really crazy? No faces. Packet of aces with no faces. Kind of rhymes, aces with no faces. Until you shake it, this is the real trick. It's actually been done with kings the whole time. Thank you. Oh, I don't know how that works. Let's try something else. How many of you think magicians cheat? That was a leading question. Well, laymen always answer it. So I'm going to roll up the sleeves just to prove that we don't always use the sleeves. Smile there in the blue shirt. That's better. Okay, makes me feel better. Okay. 4 coins. Contrary to the way most magic is done, you're not supposed to repeat things because then it gives a chance to catch you. Can everybody see the 4 coins? Okay, what I'm going to do is cause these 4 coins, one at a time, to jump over here. Watch me close. It happens like this. There's the first one. Look. Jumps over. We'll try it again. Maybe that was too fast. 3 on this side, 1 on this side. All you do is you cover the hands, wiggle the thumbs, that's when it happens. 2 and 2. Nothing in the fingers, nothing in the palms. 2 on this side, 2 on that side. This is the fun one. Watch. 3 in the front. Last chance. Keep an eye on this one. Ring got in the way that time. 1 there. 3 there. Last one's the toughest. You have to turn it invisible. You've probably never seen an invisible coin, so watch close. Just like this. Last one. How many of you believe in psychic phenomena? Or something like that? Anybody believe in
Jersey.
Good topic with Jerry. Okay, how many of you have seen Uri Geller and the Amazing Randy? Any of you? Okay, good. Well, here's something I thought I'd like to do on a show sometime, just to prove that these, well, like Geller, to prove that he's a fraud. So watch close. Something a little different. Most expensive trick I do, by the way. Look at this. I'm going to sit down just for ease of operation. At least I got you suspense. Can everybody see this? Stand if you can't see it. I have a nut and a bolt in the middle of the handkerchief. Put everything out here. Could have used a better color to write it down together. Now, if Geller was doing this, he'd put this over here and he'd say with mind power, he could actually cause the nut and bolt to separate. Well, I'm going to try this. This counts. Let's get rid of it. Watch. Did you see me undo it? You did? Let's do it again then, just for your benefit. Look, the nut and bolt. We'll put her back on. I haven't done this one very often. Watch, the nut's on. On the inside. This time I'm going to try and extract it right through the top of the table. Watch close. Just the nut. Always watch closer on this one. Don't know if we can do it. Did you see me get it? Actually, I just undid it once again. Not before. Everybody can do something. Let's try one more. It's really easy, not gimmicked. Let's try you. Here's a pack of cards. Did you catch them? Catch them. Open them up. Shuffle the cards. Pull one out. Lay it on your lap. Put the Cards back in the box. Have you ever done this before?
I don't think so.
Toss the cards back for me, please. Great. Goes back. Here's an envelope. It's one of the little envelopes that has a flap on the top. Catch that. Great. Oh, you did that? Almost went over your head. Why don't you put the card inside the envelope? Did you do that?
Mm-hmm.
For the first time. Hope this works. Have we ever done this before?
No.
I'd like you to first time. Name your card.
Name my card?
Yeah, name your card.
3 of hearts.
3 of hearts. 3 of hearts.
Mm-hmm.
What I'd like to do is take your envelope. You still have it, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
I want you to throw it inside my envelope. Okay? Toss it inside. You don't believe this? Close it. Did you see you throw your envelope inside there?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. To make it visible, all you have to do is something like this. Little wave. Pocket knife. What's that? I didn't hear. Oh, it's not doing it. Inside. And look. Does this look like the one you put your card in?
It does.
Look inside. What was the name of your card?
3 of hearts.
Real genuine article.
I can remember this when it was first.
In recent years, Jerry has become very interested in optical illusions. Psychology professor Ray Hyman from the University of Oregon has had a hand in this, I'm sure. Ray, what can you tell us?
I could tell a lot. Actually, these are the notes I was trying to make. I was thinking of what could I say different from what other people would say about Jerry. I should point out also how, because I was just a little baby at the time when I first heard of Jerry Andrus. I was back in the East Coast then, and on the East Coast at that time, all the people who thought they knew magic, especially close-up magic, were in New York City. I didn't live in New York City at the time, but I was friendly. I did move to New York City and worked there for 3 years in the late 50s. And Jerry was a legend. We had heard of him, but we had heard about him in that book of his, Andrus and something that obviously was pie in the sky stuff. No one could do it. One time I was at a convention, I think it was Hartford, Connecticut. I had never seen Jerry before. I didn't know who this person was, but they used to have all night, day and night card rooms. Maybe they still have them in conventions, but the card room was going on night and day. And when I was in there, I do remember that the head guru at that time was Harry Lorraine. He was sitting at the head of the table. And there were people, I'm not sure Dave Vernon was there, but he might have been. It was up that time. He was living out there at the time, too. And there were people like Cy Keller. There were people like, a whole number of people. Some you may have heard, some you didn't. These were the people who were the in people in cards at the time. And what they were doing in the card room, they were passing a deck of cards around one at a time. Each one was doing something to impress the others. And of course, Wayne first did all this stuff. He goes on endlessly. And then when he got tired or something, he let other people do some things. And each one was doing miracle and key. And then the deck came to Jerry. I didn't know it was Jerry. And no one, I think most people didn't know who this guy was, but he did look like a hayseed from some country bumpkin somewhere. And this was a very funny, awkward situation because only people from New York City usually dare to do anything in this kind of company. And this guy picked up the cards and began doing a thing. And there was a hush in the room as if to this, how could this guy, the nerve he's got to go and do something in front of us, what's he going to show us? And then the people really were outraged because he began doing a well-known thing. Some of you may know, if you're magic, you know, he began doing what's called the slop shuffle. And those of you who are to know that when you do the slop shuffle, ordinarily the cards look like the cards are mixed up every which way, some face down, some face up, and what have you. And the real problem at this point for any good card man is to get the cards all to face the same way. Now, in order to do that, you have to do something which is called a half pass. Not half something else, but half pass. Okay? And this was at that time there was some problems. There was some people that published a book. I hope the manuscript published on the invisible pass, but no one really believed there was such a thing as an invisible pass. And the question was, how is this guy going to get away with his half pass? They said, how is this such and such guy going to get away with a half pass? I heard that said in the room at that point. And everyone was watching, because this is the full moment, you know, where this guy's going to make a fool of himself. And all hands were on him. There was no movement, nothing happened. He just put the cards down and spread them out, all facing the same way. Absolute hush. Then someone turned to Harry, I think it was Cy Keller, turned to Harry Lorraine and said, Harry, did you see his pass? And Harry has to put it down, right? This is the guy. So Harry said very nasty, as only Harry Lorraine can. Yeah, and those of you who don't know Harry Lorraine, I really would treat you can get to meet him. Harry said he didn't do a pass. He switched to decks. As you know, switching decks can be even more important. So someone else said, after some more pause, someone else said, when that sunk in, said, no, I saw him do it. I saw him do the pass. But I got to admit, it was pretty good. And on and on. Well, this is my first introduction to Jerry Andrus, by the way. And I use that story because it's very interesting. I use the story because Jerry, under those conditions, did not really use magic, although he did, with everything else he did, he fooled the pants off those people. But at this point, he fooled the pants off them because he used psychology, not magic in a sense, although he can't separate the two. And Jerry is an excellent psychologist, and he led us all down what's called the garden path. And we were looking for the wrong thing at the wrong time. And he had never done the slop shuffle in the first place, by the way, which is so he didn't have to undo anything. He never did what he started out to do, and that was the real issue. Okay, well, what else can we say about Joe? We can say a lot of things, and you've all said about his magic and so on. But another thing is, in the 50s, when I did move to New York City, I met all these so-called hotshots. I moved there because I was working for General Electric Company, and they hired me because they had a creative engineering program, and they wanted me as a psychologist to study creativity and creative engineering. And so I specialized all the time I was there, studying creativity, studying what genius is, what makes a genius, how to get more creations, how to, what makes a difference between genius can be learned, etc., all that kind of stuff, all questions related to it. And I read about, because I did it on their time, they wanted me to do that. I read books about Darwin, I read about Newton, I read about every person who could be considered a genius. I tried to isolate all characteristics that makes him a genius and what doesn't make him a genius, and so on. I also was lucky during that time, before I got to New York and after I got to New York, to meet some of the most creative people in magic. I knew Irv Wyman very, very well when I lived in the Boston area. And I worked a lot with him. Even when I became, as a psychologist, I was interested in how he created. I knew a lot of other famous magicians as well. Some you may not have heard of, Sal Moore. They were very nice to me. I knew Dave Vernon somewhat, and we used to discuss how he invented magic and the psychology of magic at that time. I knew, of course, Ken Fetch very well. I went to graduate school in Baltimore. Ken and I were very good friends. Another very creative person. I think I have been lucky to meet and know and talk with some of the great creative magicians. I think many of you would recognize their names and know how creative they are. And yet, none of the people I read about was I ever sure were they really genius, or they were somewhat lucky in some sense. And the only person I have no doubts about attaching the word genius to, and I've said this a lot of times to other people, I said it to reporters, I said it to reporters from Omni magazine and so on, so it's nothing new. I'm not saying it here just to make a tribute to Jerry Andrus tonight. The only person I am sure is an authentic genius is Jerry Andrus. Most people don't realize that, but he is an authentic genius. Now, I don't think of genius, though, the way many people do. I think genius is something that you're born with, that you